Hey, 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 welcome to Becoming a Powerhouse Brand podcast. I'm Jackie Laws, personal brand visibility and empowerment mentor for heart-led, impact-driven entrepreneurs who know they are here to change lives with their magic and build a dream life by design while they do it. This is where we blend soul, strategy and subconscious work to help you stand out as the leader you already are. We talk identity shifts, confidence, energetics, and the real behind the scenes of building a brand that feels aligned, magnetic, and apologetically you. If you are ready to take center stage in your life and business, you are in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. Today I have Kirsty Mason on, who is a certified identity coach. I talk about identity shifting all the time on the podcast, about empowerment, about stepping into your next level. And Kirsty helps high vibe women in business who are ready to shed the shit and reach their next level of visibility and income by becoming the main character in their own story. Kirsty, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here today. Now, we are going to talk about how we speak to ourselves as women in business, because I think it's really challenging, is it, when we're juggling all the things, we're trying to scale a business, build this incredible brand for ourselves, aim for that big vision, and actually things happen, don't they? I always talk about the difference between the light and the dark. There's always going to be negative things that come up, but actually how we speak to ourselves is such an important part of the process, isn't it?
Massively. And the inner critic is what is going to be the difference between success and failure, I believe.
Yeah. Just before we dive into this topic, could you tell us who you are, what you do, and just give us a bit more of an insight into how you help people?
Yeah, so as you've rightly said, my name's Kirsty Mason, and I'm a certified identity coach for high vibe women in biz, very ambitious women as well. And I support them to get to their next level of income, visibility, and authority. And I do that by teaching what I call the main character method. And the main character method is not just that higher version of ourselves, it is the badass version of ourselves, that main character energy, the one that just doesn't hold herself back. So I know on the podcast you talk about it a lot. Like, we do hold ourselves back quite a lot. And a lot of it is through language. And so I support women to, one of the things I support them with is with the language, to just kind of work with the inner critic in a particular way so that they can be more visible, because 2026 is all about being in the room now. It's being in the spotlight, but so many women don't have the confidence to do that because they have these narratives and these stories going on in the background telling them, why would people want to listen to you, and why, what have you got that nobody else has? So I support them to just to get rid of all of that crap,
Yeah.
and to really learn to speak to themselves and about themselves. So there's a difference in a way that is going to support them to have a bigger impact, to get more clients, earn more money, and to just enjoy life a bit better and feeling, yeah, like their main character.
Yeah. It's so interesting, isn't it? And I'm a real observer of people and how their behaviors go and how they talk about themselves and things. And I think when I've gone particularly to events, networking, all of those kinds of things, it's really interesting, even that very first introduction, how people introduce themselves. And there are so many women that will just say, oh, I'm just.
Mm.
It's really interesting, isn't it? They're instantly downplaying how incredible it is that they are, because they're just not used to putting themselves out there and actually speaking to themselves as, I am an expert. I am really good at what I do. It's just that
Yeah,
I'm just.
yeah, definitely. And I think the reason that they say I'm just is because women are so many other roles. So rather than seeing yourself as in your business and your brand being like something bigger, you see some women see themselves on the same line as being a mum and being a wife. And it's like, well, actually, you can separate that. It's important to separate that. So you're not just a content creator, you're not just a coach. You are, and you have to own that with conviction. And yeah, and again, by just the way that you speak to yourself, it is just so important. And people don't realize that, because as women, we have always spoken to ourselves in these certain ways. And I'm pretty sure that so many women listening are repeating the same things that they've been telling themselves since they were teenagers. We always have those. I usually find between 3 to 5 phrases that we tell ourselves on repeat, and they pop up Like when we're trying to do something new in our business, that whole, oh, you're not clever enough. That was my biggest one. You're not clever enough. It just keeps popping up.
Yeah.
And if you are going to continue to speak to yourself in that way and allow the inner critic to control how you speak, how you take that in, it's then going to create your results. So if we can turn the language around in a more positive, empowering way, you are going to feel bolder to, yeah, pitch yourself for a podcast or actually apply to go and stand on your stage next year and be more visible and have more of an impact and feel really good about it as well.
Yeah, it's having more optimism, isn't it? Rather than being very pessimistic and thinking, oh, but why would they get me on there? Why would I have that opportunity? Why would someone say yes to me?
Yeah.
I'm just this, that, and the other. How did you get into this work, Kirsty?
So it was about 4 years ago. So sorry, go back. I'm a qualified sign language interpreter, and I
Okay.
I started learning sign language when I was 16, and it's something that I've always done. And then about 4 years ago, I discovered self-development, and it completely changed my life. And the first thing that I learned was about subconscious reprogramming and how our minds and the beliefs that we have and the experiences that we've had growing up shape the person that we are. So as I was going through like my own journey, I was auditing all the things that I thought about myself and all the things that I had heard. And then I started to challenge it. And you actually realize if you do that audit, there's so many things that you tell yourself to be true which actually aren't. So a lot of people say, there's not enough money to go around. There's not enough clients for me. So there's millions of people in this world, and every single one of us just needs a small amount of clients to have a successful life and a successful business. So that narrative comes from somewhere. So when I started to think about how I was speaking to myself, and actually what that was doing and how that was holding me back and what it was stopping me from doing, because I had these visions of what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. And like I had visions of supporting all these women and standing on stages, and oh my God, no way was I going to do that. The way that I spoke to myself, it was just not going to happen. So when I went through my own journey, I thought, right, I've got to change the way that I speak to myself. Um, and it kind of all started from there. And I just realized I actually speak to myself quite terribly. I really put myself down. And when I kind of flipped it and I thought of my best friend, I thought, God, I'd never speak to her like that. I'd never speak to my children like that. So why is it acceptable for me to say those things to me? And that was my biggest moment where I was like, right, things need to change. So as I went through like doing my own digging and understanding about why it always goes back to childhood and it always goes back to the things that we've been through when we're younger. And you realize that you can actually change. You can change your brain. It's scientifically proven. And then I went on this mission to do that. But what the byproduct was that I had better relationships. I felt so good about myself. For the first time, I actually liked myself. And I didn't realize how much I had sabotaged myself in my younger years by going out and partying and doing all these kind of things. I wasn't treating myself the way I should be treated. So as I have now transformed, my life is completely different. And I sometimes I have to stop and I'm like, gosh, is this me? Is this version? But yeah, it's not easy because you have to face up to a lot of stuff that you have dug deep, deep down into, the darkest places. But when you do give yourself that permission to kind of let it out and work through it, yeah, the results are amazing. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how I've got to where I am.
Amazing. It's such a fascinating topic to dive into, isn't it? Like, I think the whole area of personal development, that empowerment, really understanding who you are, overcoming these limiting beliefs and rewiring your subconscious. It's like, it's a massive project, isn't it? It's an ongoing thing that we need to be doing. And I think I had a conversation with someone the other day and we were saying, although you can get to the root cause where these things come from, I think there are a lot of things that are just patterns that will just show their head every now and again. And then it's, oh, we need to do a bit more work in that, don't we?
Yeah, and you can do all of the work and new level, new devil.
Yeah.
So as you expand, that voice may come back or something else will start coming into your mind. But as long as you learn a process to just clear it, you don't allow it to affect what you're doing in your
Yes.
life and in your business. And then it just means that you can keep expanding. But What I teach isn't just the mindset stuff, it's the nervous system. And this is the key. People do a lot of the subconscious rewiring because that's something that people know a lot more about, but they don't do the nervous system work in alignment with that. And what I'm finding so many women are doing is they get really into the self-development, really into the mindset work, and they do it all, and then they kind of hit this ceiling where they're not able to go any further. And sometimes they end up slowly reverting back to how they
Yeah.
are, and the thoughts coming back in. And then, the self-sabotage, and, where they were once really active on social media, for example, they're suddenly gone really quiet because the subconscious has gone, hang on, you're getting too big for your boots here, love. You need to kind of quieten down. But when you work with the nervous system as well, and you do it in alignment and you do it at the same time, then you aren't going to hit a ceiling because your nervous system is the thing that is going to pull you back down as well. So it's just do the nervous system with the mindset work. It might take longer, but you're not going to revert backwards.
Yeah. And I always talk about, so where I help people to be visible, and it's so interesting. So from my perspective, I've always been in this industry of helping businesses and other people to be more visible. And it's only since doing the personal development work, understanding about the subconscious mind and nervous system, that I've realized actually for a lot of people, it's not just a case of flipping the switch around and thinking about, well, the impact you want to create and doing all of this, because actually for a lot of people, it's not safe for them to be visible due to past things that have happened to them. So actually, doesn't matter what strategy I was to give somebody, if this is like the roadmap of you're going to be visible if you post X number of times a day, or you're in all these different platforms, or you're fully into alignment with what your purpose is, if your nervous system is literally telling you it's not safe for you to be seen, you're going to be self-sabotaging at every single level. So I think, like you said, it's the self-talk, but also balancing that in with the nervous system regulation that can actually help you to move forward in all different areas. That was just one example.
Yeah, in all areas. And one of the things that I hear a lot, and you'll probably hear this as well because of the work you do, it's that fear of judgment. And a lot of the time, and this is my own personal experience as well, it was fear of judgment from people that I went to school with. But I hadn't seen these people for about 25 years. And it was stopping me from showing up on Instagram and doing reels and talking on stories because I was thinking, God, what if they see that and what are they going to think? Or I've got two brothers and we've got this kind of very jovial relationship. And it was like, oh God, if they watch it, then they're going to screenshot something to the family WhatsApp group and there's going to be laughs. So all of this went on in my mind, which was what was stopping me from being active on Instagram. And that is the biggest thing, is this fear of what other people think. But actually, I was so wrong because who cares what they think? The good girls I haven't seen for 25 years. And actually, my brothers have been really supportive, but we create these stories in our mind. And it's what stops us from doing the things that we so desperately want to do. Like your clients desperately want to get on social media. It's a free marketing platform. Like we have to all get on
Yeah.
it. But we don't feel safe. As you said, our nervous system is like, absolutely not. You can't do that. And that's why people pick up their phone, don't they? And they go, oh, and then they put it down because they can't do the story. They
Yeah.
actually can't say the words. And I hear a lot, and you probably hear it. I just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like you're way overqualified. Of course you know what to say, but it's that fear, it's the nervous system that is getting in the way, that is stopping them from doing it.
Yeah. I always love to ask them when I hear that question is, do you know what to, if I was in a room with you and I asked you what you did, would you be a complete mute? Would you not say anything? Like, oh no, of course I would talk about it. I'm like, so it's the difference is you've got this device in front of you, but it's like you say, it's rewiring, isn't it? It's actually understanding how to be visible in a different way, but also implementing this in all areas of your life. What are
Yeah.
the kind of key areas that you find most women struggle with when it comes to like scaling their business in a way that feels good? What would you say are the kind of roadblocks that they seem to be at?
So I think a lot of women, again, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of women feel that they are just their role. And because they have families and all the other things that they need to look after, they don't prioritize themselves. They put themselves at the bottom of the pile. And so many times I have to say it's not selfish to put yourself at the top, because when your cup's full, you can then overflow into everything else. So it's teaching women to actually be comfortable And again, it's a conditioning, it's societal. Again, as a female, it's just a gender thing. It is, we're not used to that. So our nervous systems are in that constant go, 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 helping other people. What do they need? What does she want to have? You know, and it's like actually we rarely stop and go, well, what do we need? And when we do allow ourselves that permission to look at ourselves, then we fill our own cup, we increase our energy, we have more to give, and then we can scale a business whilst doing all the things that we need to do in our lives. Another thing that I see quite a lot is women saying, well, it's just not possible for me. I've seen it happen, it's possible for them. I've seen them doing it, but for me, I just can't. And there's no evidence in that at all, because every single person, we were all born pure. We were all born into this world. And it's very rare that any of us have been gifted like the entrepreneurial brain and the money to set up our business. So we've had to start from the bottom up. But when they tell themselves that it's not possible, they create so many blocks. And there's no evidence of that. It's so possible for them to have a thriving business whilst looking after their family, whilst having the freedom and having fun at the same time. And that's something that I'm always saying to them, they have to have fun at the same time. But yeah, that's probably one of the saddest things I hear people say is just, oh, it's not possible for me. And I would say they're probably two of the biggest blocks that I come across with my clients and people that I speak to.
Yeah, it is really sad, isn't it? And I think this is something that happens not even just women in business, but just in general, just in
Mhm.
life. They're just doing for everybody else, prioritizing themselves the least out of their entire to-do list. And actually, it's just once you start making yourself priority and realizing that actually it's not selfish. I think it's really interesting, isn't it? I don't know if this comes from childhood or what, but the conversations I have with people, myself included, is when you start making yourself priority and putting yourself first, it feels like a selfish act to begin with, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. But it's not selfish because you need to be on form for everybody else. And I think, there is that movement, self-care isn't selfish, that's kind of like people are talking about now. But it's still, I think a lot of it is, historically, women have been the ones that have looked after the home. They've looked after everything else. They've made sure the men have their pipe and slippers when they get back from work, and the children are fed, and dinner's on the table, and all the house is clean. And although we're not living in that society now, we're still, I feel, got the hangover of that, and it's still like lurking. Um, and I feel that what I love about people like you and I, and the people that are in our world, is that we're changing that completely now. We're showing the young women and the young men that women are taking over. I feel like we're taking over the
We
world.
are.
And it's just showing them that it's possible, like it's equal now. So yeah, there's definitely a change happening, but I think it is that still we are just stuck with that old conditioning that we're working through, the generational chains that we're breaking, which I feel our generation are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the other things I'd love to touch on is helping those who maybe didn't have the best start in life, because it's very easy for when you're feeling in lack, when you're doing that self-sabotage, when you're talking so negatively about yourself, seeing the success of others and almost thinking, well, it was easy for them because of XYZ, or they didn't have my background, and actually almost downplaying your own gifts because you're so held back by maybe the start you had in your own life. But actually you can start a new chapter from any point, can't you? It's literally that decision of, well, that doesn't, just because it's what got me to here doesn't mean I need to continue bringing this forward.
Yeah, definitely. But it's also having to work through those subconscious stories and with the nervous system, because your subconscious and your nervous system are actually going to feel safe with that mindset, because it's all it's ever known. Which is why when they do see people on Instagram doing all the things that they want to do, and it's like, oh my God, that's absolutely not possible for me. No way could I do that. They had a better start in life. But it's just working with the nervous system and the brain, sorry, the mind, to teach it that there is a different way. And there is a different way for everybody. We've all kind of started at the bottom and we're working our way up. And I think one thing that I'm very much quite hot on on my social media is sharing my story. You know, I don't want people to think, oh, you know, she just plucked out of thin air and now she's doing all these things. It's like, I told myself every day that I wasn't clever enough. I cried when I had to read like the same sentence of a book 4 times because I didn't understand what it meant. You know, I told myself that I was that stupid. And I had to then get to sort of this point. It hasn't come easy.
Yeah.
It's taken a lot of work. It's taken a heck of a lot of pushing. Like every day I do something that really freaks my nervous system out. But the more you do it, the nervous system goes, oh, actually, so you're not going to die. Okay, well that's fine now. So your new normal becomes something more and something bigger. And you know, if you do commit to the work, that person that you were and how you felt is somebody you probably won't recognize anymore.
Yeah. It's amazing because I do think when I look back, even when I started this podcast, which is nearly 2 years ago now, well, by the time this goes live, it will be 2 years old. Um, and when I think when I first started this podcast, I just wasn't the same person. Like, but you don't realize at the time, because at the time when I launched it, I thought, oh, okay, I've already done all this healing work. I kind of know who I am now. I'm on this mission. It's all amazing and sharing all the energy and everything. And now I'm like, I'm just a totally different person 2 years down the line. But sometimes it can be really gradual, can't it? It can just be a memory will pop up and you think, oh my God, that was me. Like I don't even recognize myself anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And the doing this work is meant to be gradual. You know, there's don't jump in the deep end and hope that you're going to swim. Do it really slowly. And I think this is where people, a bit like dieting, you know, you've eaten healthy for a week. Like if you haven't gone and you've gone to the gym every day, if you haven't got a six pack, it's like, oh, well, I may as well give up, you know? And that's what people do with nervous system work and mindset work. It's like, really trying, I'm doing all the things, but I'm not feeling a change. But just keep doing it. And like you say, one day you'll wake up and you'll go, oh my gosh, like I forgot that that's what I used to think, or that's who I was. Like I remember the moment that I realized I stopped telling myself that I wasn't clever is I was reading something. And as I mentioned, sometimes I have to read things quite a few times for it to sink in. And I think I read it about 5 or 6 times. And then I got it and I carried on reading. And then it was a bit later, I was like, I actually read that 6 times and didn't tell myself that I was stupid. I've managed to release that thought now. So you don't realize it's happening until, like you say, something happens and you're like, oh gosh, yeah, that was what I was like, or that is how much I've changed. And when you get those moments, really actually celebrate that. And we need to celebrate more because we don't celebrate our success and our transformation and all the things that we do because, yeah, you're becoming a different person.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love it. I think it like you say, it's almost like muscle memory, isn't it? It's just repeating the same things until they become you're not even thinking about it. It's like a subconscious thing, isn't it? That you're not then picking up every negative detail. Oh, that didn't work, or this didn't work, or that's a flop, or whatever. It's actually focusing on, well, actually, that went really well, or I didn't die, like you said. I did that thing that felt really scary and I kept putting off, and it was fine. I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just constantly, we don't, as women especially, we're not very good at recognizing our successes because we're just on this keep going, keep going. And it is so important for us to just take these moments to stop, which is why, like with your event that you're doing, it's like, it's that celebration. It's like
Yeah,
people coming together. It's like, wow, like this is who we are. I'm in this room with all of these other people. We're celebrating all of these things. And it's like, well done me, because I've got myself here. And we need to do that more. We need to stop and just be like, well done,
yeah,
because it's not easy to do what we do, as we say, because we don't just do business, we carry all the other stuff that we with the children, the house, and well, I don't need to name it, you're a woman as well, so we do it all. So yeah, it's really important, I think, to celebrate us.
yeah. Do you think for people that go into the work of subconscious reprogramming and nervous system regulation, do you think it needs to be a decision that they make? Because I know from like networking and things, there are definitely people that I am connected to that are incredible at what they do, but this kind of work just it's not even in their periphery at all. Do you think it is one of those things that they just need to get to a point where they're like, actually, maybe I do want to lean in and find out more about this? It needs to be like an internal decision almost.
Yeah, I think you can always inform people that it's something that's available. A lot of people don't know, especially about the nervous system work. They don't know about it. They know the mindset, the journaling, the visualizations,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Everyone knows that, but no one really talks about the importance of nervous system work. And I think we can just tell people, how it can support them. But ultimately, like with anything, it's somebody's decision. But they will always get to a point where they want to expand and they want to hold more in their business and their life, and they're not going to be able to. So I think that is when they will start to lean into other modalities like nervous system work, because you know I see a lot of people, like, they've been trying for so long, they keep going, nothing's changing, what am I doing? And it's like, okay, well, nervous system work would help with that. And just kind of dropping that in. But people like that are open because they want to be more successful.
Yeah.
They will eventually become open to that because you're kind of giving them something that is actually going to be their golden ticket to becoming that highest version of themselves.
Yeah. And I always talk about like the identity shift that you go through in life and business. It's not, I think a lot of people almost think that you are then becoming a new person, that, well, I don't want to become somebody else. That's not me. But actually, it's not that at all, is it? It's actually stripping back all of those limiting beliefs and just becoming more of who you are meant to be anyway.
Yeah, definitely. We're there, that version inside of us is surrounded by barriers of, like you say, limiting beliefs and stories and experiences that we've had. And all we need to do is just start taking those barriers down, because the person is already inside of you. And we just need to help her kind of get out of that cage. And as you say, you're not becoming anybody different. You're just giving yourself permission to do more and to be seen more and to earn more and to have more of an impact, which ultimately is that person that's inside of us anyway. But yeah, she's just kind of caged in by those limiting beliefs.
We've got to smash that cage in and get her out.
Exactly, exactly.
Kirsty, is there a top tip that you would like to give anybody that is listening to this today?
Yes, have belief in yourself. Anything is possible. Anything, you are limitless, is what I would probably say. You are limitless. And what you see online is totally possible for you. You can have whatever you want to have, you can be whoever you want to be, but you have to dedicate the time to do the inner work. And it's not going to take an overnight, it's not an overnight thing. It's not going to take weeks. It might not take months. It might take years. But the consistency is what is going to get you to wherever you want to be and the person that you want to become.
I love that. And this work isn't just for business. This is like life-changing
Yeah.
work that will obviously help future generations as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. See, I started doing it for business, but actually, I'm a better wife, I'm a better mum, I'm a better daughter, I'm a better friend. I feel better about myself. I feel good. So yeah, this is the thing. You think that you're doing the work on one area of your life, but actually, it works on everything else.
yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for coming on today, Kirsty. Where is the best place to connect with you online?
So come and find me on Instagram. It's Kirsty_Mason_coaching.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to pop the link in the show notes below. Please do make sure you go and connect with Kirsty on Instagram. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review and let us know what you thought. Thank you so much for coming on, Kirsty. And I will see you in the next episode, guys.